We are back in New Orleans. Here arrived 18130, the last slave ship. Today, the Natchez departs here for round trips on the Mississippi. Canal Street runs almost halfway through the old town and separated the American sector from the French Quarter. Bourbon Street is a famous, historically known street known for its lively atmosphere. Tourists can get to know this district on a guided tour of the city on foot, with a carriage ride, or by bike. Get to know this district. The City of the Dead not only has a fascination with ghosts, magic, and secrets, but is also a city full of music. Numerous sculptures pay homage to the city's music legends. And since noon at the latest, numerous musicians have been playing in the many bars and clubs until late at night. But how did the sound of the southern states begin? In the past, some slaves met in Congo Square and celebrated with music, dance, and rituals until nightfall. In the fields, the slaves sang their songs at work. This first gave rise to the blues, which told of the hard life in the Mississippi Delta. For a better overview, our film is not structured according to the journey, but according to the historical time. Our journey in the footsteps of the southern states, music takes us first north, along the Mississippi, until we finally reach Nashville. Jackson, on the Mississippi, is considered the birthplace of the blues. We are in the historic district on Farish Street. At the time of racial segregation, this was a district of the black population. Since 1949, the Alamo Theater has been located here. The Alamo was primarily a cinema, but it was also famous for nurturing local talent and providing them with a springboard to record deals through music competitions. Among them was the then very famous blues guitarist and singer, B.B. King. Almost next to it was Trumpet Records, a record company with a recording studio. Some of the best blues songs were recorded here. Today, the road seems to have been left to decay. The King Edward Hotel used to host musicians and other stars. This also used to house a recording studio. It is located at the end of Robinson Road. At that time a main shopping street. We are in Memphis. Beale Street is considered the home of the blues. William Christopher Handy was a son of freed slaves. As a composer and bandleader, he is called the father of the blues. 1912 he composed his first successful blues here, the Memphis Blues. Around 100 years ago, Beale Street was a thriving center for blacks. They founded banks, insurance companies, and newspapers. Women worked in doctors' offices. At night, it turned into an entertainment center with gambling dens, saloons, prostitution, and crime. But the street was also the center of black music in the USA. Today, Beale Street is one of the biggest tourist attractions in Memphis, although only a small part remains.
I've got a sweet little angel.
1890 opened the Grand Opera House. Today it is called Orpheum. It was the most elegant theater outside of New York. Singers, musicians, and magicians already performed in variety shows at that time. So did B.B. King. Almost at the end of Beale Street is Sun Records, founded in 1952 by amateur musician Sam Phillips. Here, the then still unknown blues singer B.B. King recorded some titles. The same goes for Ike Turner and his band. The song, Rocket 88, was one of the first rock and roll records. Some of the previous recordings were characterized by two recording peculiarities. To create a clearly audible echo, the recorded sound was recorded again by a second tape with a slight time delay. In addition, many recordings are slightly overdriven, which makes them look distorted. A year later, a young man came to the studio to record a song for his mother, as a gift. At the time, it cost just under $4. Marion Kiesker, the assistant in the studio, was alone when he entered.
Hello, my lady.
Good day, sir. What kind of singer are you?
I sing all kinds of ways.
What do they sound like?
I sound like no one.
Marion took the picture.
Well, let me tell you a little something about me. Every Saturday night I need to blow off some steam.
After that, she was so impressed
You are
by
a
the
good
singer's
singer.
voice that she
Will they
wrote
give
down
me
his name
their
and
address?
address, Elvis Presley.
My name is Elvis Presley, AUS Memphis.
A year later, Elvis came back to the studio for a recording. This time, Sam Phillips made the recording and promoted him. This is how Elvis Presley's career began.
Well, I've been holding in since the top in Monday morning. From the end of the week, I'm a bump and about to blow. Rick walking through the hall.
At a later recording session, he was the singer of the Starlight Wranglers. During this session, the trio first tried their hand at a whole series of country songs, without developing their own style. It was only when Presley sang the blues number, "That's All Right," during a break and completely reinterpreted it that a new sound was born. Rockabilly, a fusion of black rhythm and blues and white country, a variety of rock and roll. The song was often played on the radio. This is how Elvis became even more famous.
So thank you for your interest in our little tour.
On Beale Street, Elvis dressed up for his performances. The shop still exists today. Elvis Aaron Presley was born in Tupelo in the 1935. There was no money for expensive leisure activities, so the Presleys provided their own entertainment by singing gospels with friends, which their son joined in as a toddler. Since there was no money, they moved several times. Thus, despite strict racial segregation laws, the family lived at times in a neighborhood in the immediate vicinity of many African Americans. With his black friend, he attended church services and eagerly sang along to gospel music. Aaron made secret excursions into the entertainment districts of the black population. It was here that his fascination for the blues was awakened. After the end of slavery, discrimination against the black population had not yet ended. The Jim Crow law applied. The rights and achievements should be taken back. The racial segregation was fully there.
Hey, what do you nigger want here?
Get out. You have no business here.
This is only for us white ones.
Yes, exactly. Go away.
On the bus, the blacks were only allowed to sit in the back. In 1955, Rosa Louise Parks refused to vacate her seat for a white passenger.
Please move to the back of the bus. I need that seat now. Please move back. If you can sit there on other buses, suppose you get off and into one of them. If you don't move out of that seat, I'll have you arrested. Get up from there.
It doesn't take long, and she was arrested, as were other African Americans who did not behave as desired. This triggered a bus boycott of Montgomery. Almost all blacks simply no longer took the bus and walked, or hitchhiked. King, then 26, was appointed head of a newly formed committee in Montgomery. This coordinated a boycott that was to last a little over a year. The nonviolent resistance finally led to an initial success, but it did not last long.
Damn the law. Down here, we make our own law.
Elvis Presley became more and more successful. He had many live performances, television shows, and also the first feature films were made with him. 1957 bought Elvis, Graceland. Let's visit part of the house. From the hallway, the living room is on the right. The view goes to a white grand piano that stands behind it in the music room. From the hallway, one room further, we look into one of the bedrooms. On the other side of the hall is the dining room, and behind it is the kitchen. Of course, also with a TV. From here, we make our way up a staircase to the basement. In the TV room, 3 TVs were running at the same time. There were no more programs at that time, and so Elvis believed he would not miss anything. There was also relaxation in the billiard room opposite. Back to the ground floor. The most famous room in the house is probably the jungle room with waterfall. This was Elvis's favorite room. Here he relaxed with friends and family and even recorded 2 of his albums. When Elvis moved in, he immediately built a pool at the house. The kidney shape was modern at the time. In another house his father, Baron Presley, had his office. Directly adjacent is a hall for racquetball. Even then, many fans wanted to be close to him. A closed fence, around his garden and house, should protect against prying eyes. A civil rights movement organized 1961, a series of integrated bus rides. The so-called Freedom Rides led through the southern states of the USA. A trip was supposed to go from Washington to New Orleans. The aim of the trips was to test compliance with recent court rulings prohibiting racial segregation in long-distance transport. At first, everything went smoothly. Then the first participant was arrested in Charlotte. A little later also in the following cities. In Atlanta, they met with Martin Luther King Jr. King was born in Atlanta at the age of 1929, the son of the preacher Martin Luther King. In Auburn Avenue, almost exclusively wealthy blacks lived. In addition to his studies, King became his father's assistant preacher at Ebenezer Baptist Church. But at that time, despite his deep faith, he did not want to become a preacher. At college, he discovered public speaking for himself, and soon took top places in student competitions in political speech. King warned the Freedom Riders that race advocates were planning an attack on their bus. Some participants flew to New Orleans, others continued their journey anyway. In Anniston, a bus was attacked and set on fire. In a second bus, passengers were beaten and seriously injured. The perpetrators probably came from the environment of the Ku Klux Klan. The Freedom Riders reached Jackson with an escort of the National Guard. They were detained on arrival for inciting riot, disturbing the public peace, and failing to obey police orders and sentenced to 30 days in prison. In total, more than 300 Freedom Riders were arrested in Jackson alone. Under King's leadership, the activists blocked only small, white-only lunch counters through peaceful sit-in protests. More and more volunteers were added nationwide. After 10 days, King was arrested. But released after 8 days. The demonstrations continued. In response to the ongoing demonstrations, President Kennedy presented a bill to the U.S. Congress for far-reaching nationwide equality. Nevertheless, King organized a march to Washington for work and freedom. Over 300,000 people came and listened to King's speech.
I am pleased to participate with you today in an event that will go down in the history of our nation as the greatest demonstration for freedom. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state that is in the heat of injustice and oppression languished, transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice.
In 1964, racial segregation in public institutions was abolished. But there were still restrictions. So the fight continued. In April 1968, King came to Memphis to attend a protest march of striking garbage workers. He moved into his room at the Lorien Motel. King went to his balcony. It was April 4th to 6th p.m. A shot hit King. He died of his injury at the age of only 39. In many cities of the USA there were riots after King's murder. Therefore, in April of that year, the U.S. Congress passed a law for equal rights in rental prices, and in the purchase of residential property, known as the Civil Rights Act. Martin Luther King found his final resting place in his old home, Atlanta. Back to Elvis. He was more successful than ever before.
Well, I've been rolling in since the clock came Monday morning. From the end of the week, I'm about to blow. We're walking to the honky tonk like a pack of wolves now. Order of a round of shots and it's away we go.
The Memphis Flash, as the young Elvis's style of clothing was also called, still influences young street-style designers and large fashion houses today. His early rockabilly looks, but also his later spectacular Las Vegas costumes, are constantly reinterpreted. With ostentatious clothing and diamond jewelry, stars still show today that they are big in business. And Elvis didn't just make music. He also starred in 27 musical comedies, and of course there was always a soundtrack album to go with it. The King of Rock and Roll had his own idea of an appropriate travel style. He bought his first aircraft, a Convair 880. She bore the name of his only daughter, Lisa Marie. Through the conference room, you pass bathrooms, with partially gilded elements, to the master bedroom. Of course, he also had a TV. In one of the museum halls, we get an overview of the world star's very large vehicle collection. Then, on August 16, 1977, Elvis is found dead in his bathroom. He was only 42 years old. Posthumously, Elvis 2018 received the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his great success as an American, signed by Donald Trump. Today you can visit his grave in his home garden. He found his final resting place in the midst of other family members. You can learn more about Elvis at the Graceland Museum. A visit is definitely worthwhile. But you should also plan almost a whole day for it. We are just outside Nashville when the sky darkens within minutes. Then comes a warning via radio, smartphone, and on the advertising walls at the roadside. And off we go. A tornado almost sweeps over us. In addition, a drop in temperature from 28 to 13 degrees. The southern states are often hit by hurricanes on the coast. Hurricane season here is from June to the end of November. In the Ground Zero Museum you can feel the wind forces in a hurricane simulator. In 2005, Katrina devastated the coasts of Mississippi and Alabama. It was one of the worst storms. Today, there is nothing left to see of it. However, the apartments and the houses are on the first floor. Will that be enough for storm surges? In any case, there are kilometers of fine sandy beaches along the highway, just as good as in Florida. Only the water is a little murkier. But relaxing after a round trip, you can do that wonderfully here. Back to Nashville. Directly on the Cumberland River is Fort Nashborough. From 1779, the Palisade system provided protection from wildlife and indigenous peoples. Nashville then emerged from a later settlement. Just around the block, Music Row, Nashville's music center, begins. Past the Johnny Cash Museum, the path leads us to the Music City Walk of Fame. It honors important personalities who have contributed to Nashville's musical heritage. Directly across the street is the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. The Hall of Fame of this music genre stands where the record labels, recording studios and music publishers were once at home. Here we learn more about this style of music. The New Americans were looking for something familiar. So they sang songs from home and also embraced the music of their new neighbors. The first instruments were homemade banjos from Africa and violins from Europe. Later, the banjos were replaced by more popular guitars. Country music originated from a mixture of different folk traditions from Ireland and England, and the rhythmic elements of enslaved Africans. Johnny Cash was known for his bass baritone voice. He wrote about 500 songs and sold more than 90 million records. 1980 Cash received the highest award in country music. He was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame and, at 48 years old, was the youngest living artist to receive this honor. His eldest daughter Roseanne is also a country singer, but mainly only successful in the USA. Chris Christopherson is also definitely worth mentioning. The older ones of us will certainly know some of his songs. As early as 1956, Elvis Presley ushered in the beginning of the era now known as the Nashville Sound. He had great success with this. His 1960s Cadillac was his dream car at the time. Partly 24-karat gold-plated, and of course with refrigerator, record player, and TV. The music producer Owen Bradley was, also in the 1960s, one of the most important architects of the Nashville sound. Instead of sparse country instrumentation, string sections and background choirs now determined the sound. Taylor Swift, who doesn't know her today, moved to Nashville as a teenager to pursue her music career. The city plays an important role in her life, and her music. This is also where it was discovered. Today she is a world star. Broadway, right in the middle of downtown, is a tourist and entertainment district known for its honky-tonks and live country music. Musicians play in the afternoon, always with the thought to become discovered and famous. Honky-tonk is a type of pub. In the past, the term stood for a loud restaurant with live music. Today, of course, smaller dishes are also offered.
Can't you see? Whoa. Can't you see? That old Lord, she's been doing me.
From the mid-1950s, country music lost ground dramatically to rock and roll. Classic country instruments, such as fiddle or pedal steel guitar, were rarely used. 20 years later, country pop took over and helped the Nashville sound to break through. This is where our journey through the southern states ends, on which we have experienced and discovered many interesting things. The southern states are always worth a trip.